still cuss word safe, or are we in trouble?
Oh no, I'm recording. This could be the bleep outs at the beginning, I suppose. So I'm gonna give it one more minute, and then we're jumping in.
We gotta go by PG-13 rules. We're allowed one F bomb, and we have to use it very wisely.
I think we have the wrong group for that.
I'm not gonna stop you.
I meant for wisdom.
Oh, I was talking to Sophie. I'm so sorry, but we're wise. We're wise. Trey.
I totally clicked on that. It's on recording now.
We're doomed.
All right,
It's a bad bear right there.
let's do this. It's been a hot minute. What was our last lore talk? Was it the Fae? So it's been a couple months since we've had a get
Wait,
together. Was it the Fae or was it? I feel like.
there was one more after the Fae, I thought.
Oh, maybe. But so welcome everybody. I guess I should technically introduce everybody, even though I feel like we all know each other. I'm Leah. I'm one of the co-owners of Eclipse Ridge. I work a lot with the lore and yeah, all that other fun, good stuff, terrorizing the people of Eclipse Ridge. Let's see. We have Aiden, known as many other fun characters on Sim. Do you want to say hi?
Howdy. Everybody tends to know me as the vampire mentor, Aiden. I'm the one who asks clarifying questions that definitely confuses people even further. I apologize for that. But yeah, I'm part of the not only the mentor team but also R&D. See?
And then Ezra, known as Lizer and
Hi.
Jesse and Nana. Introduce yourself.
My name is Ezra. I use he/they pronouns, and I am one of the two witch mentors. The other witch mentor, big shout out to Helena here. She is absolutely fantastic. Big shout out. Uh, and I'm also a member of R&D. I try not to ask confusing questions, but I try to be uh, Aiden over here over the head whenever he does, for the greater good.
And then Kai is going to be our chat moderator tonight. Say hi, Kai.
Hello.
She's also a co-owner of Eclipse Ridge. And what else do you want to tell them?
I am proof that you do stuff, they will give you more stuff to do. So be careful.
I think everybody up here's in that boat, unfortunately. And there's a few in the audience, too. But, so run while you can. Yep. Um, so just a quick thing about just kind of the format tonight. The R&D is going to be, so R&D is the research and development. It's kind of our fun, fancy name for the team that helps with lore, helping research stories, and I don't know, there's so much. There's a lot that these guys help with, helping me find things that need to get tweaked and fixed and all of that great stuff. So they're going to be helping me tonight while we talk about, of course, the lore and all its possibilities with you and your characters and all that great fun stuff. So we are on a stage, so it will be us talking and you guys listening. However, we do have a chat. If you look over to I believe your upper right hand corner, most of you have already found chat, but if you haven't, there's a little cloud, like chat cloud. Click on that, you'll see the chat going on. If questions come up um, during our lore talk, Miss Kai will copy those for us and we will make sure that they get answered if they're relevant to the moment of the question, or we will make sure everything is at least recognized, stated, it might be a carry on to a ticket, all that great fun stuff. But we will try to get as many answered tonight as possible. So, before we go, is there any questions like about the process and what we're doing? All right, I think we're good. So, our first one up is Ezra. He's going to talk about your backstory and you. So, have fun.
All right, folks, listen up, settle down, quiet your voices. I know you're all talking out there. So, the way the lore is set up the way it is we try to have a very strong and flexible lore that encourages creativity and exploration. We are not going to tell you what you can and cannot be or where you came from, what you did, but we want to think about this more as like a coloring page. We got coloring sheets, and you can choose whatever color you want to put into it. All we ask is that you stay within the lines. But if you don't want to stay in the lines, that's also okay, because if it's something you have a question about, you can open up a ticket or start in building character chat, and we can help you find out how to best get your character to fit in the region that we're in. Uh, we also put a lot of credence in the time that you spend on sim, the time that you spend role playing, and the longer you're in, and the more that we see that you are writing, getting yourself out there, getting yourself involved, even with other people, that goes a long, long way. Because then we see that you're in it for the long haul, and we can be a little more flexible with that. Our lore is not 100% complete. It is very much something that expands and grows over time, and we're learning right along with you. So if you guys find something that you want to add, reach out to us. That's what we're here for. Research and development, we're here for you, and that's our whole thing. So if there are inconsistencies, point that out to us. If there is something you want to add, let us know. That's what we're here for. I absolutely agree with that. It's a living and growing document that will grow, and alter more and more the more y'all offer the breaks and break it, because it's gonna break. Y'all have to stress test this, because we're gonna stress test it, and we will hopefully make it better together. And with that being said, and with that being said, that also leads us to weaknesses, not only with lore, but in your own character, with your specific species and the whatnot. Weaknesses are there to enhance the work, and we ask that you work with them rather than in spite of them. Failure is not the end of your story. If you are cast in something and you fail, that's not a reflection on you. What do you think happened to make that happen? How can you creatively spin that failure, right? Doing that goes an awful long way to writing your story. Because if we were all successful all the time, that'd be awful boring. Now that being said, if you're constantly failing, we can help you with that too, especially if it's a mechanical thing. We are much more story driven than we are mechanic. We want to help you with that. Reach out to us. Now, in a lore, moving on, the ball is bouncing. Keep with me. I wrote notes. The lore is open, and there are different ways to interact with it, and we want to, well, we will not control where you come from and your backstory. You coming into this lore, we want to help you integrate into what is around us now. So, to start on a tangent, I'm going to give a little bit of a brief history and overview of what Eclipse Ridge is, and then we're going to expand onto that as to how that interacts with you and your backstory. Eclipse Ridge is a small town. It is a small mountain town, small mountain mining town, even. That means we got a population of what, 5,000 at most? I believe I'm correct on that. The silence means yes. We got
Yes.
about five. We got about 5,000 people in our town, which means if you do something small, everybody and their mom's gonna know about it. It probably will make front page because it's a sleepy, quiet town, and your reputation goes a long way. If you are constantly doing something to mess up, people around town are gonna know that. This isn't L.A. This isn't Denver. If you rob the bank, you are going to go down in the history of Eclipse Ridge of robbing the bank. We're going to know that. That being said, also, you do something of like raising a charity in town, and you raise a couple $1 million from a polar plunge, people are going to remember that for a long, long time. Your good deeds and your bad deeds will follow you around this town. Um, that being said, eyes are everywhere. Small towns ain't got nothing to do but be in each other's business. If you got stories going on, hell yeah, explain, do those stories. But also, if you'd like those stories to perhaps be more involved with the storyline, let us know. And we could have nosy neighbors, we could have stalkers, we could have all sorts of things to help integrate that into the greater scheme of things. Now, what does that mean for you coming into Eclipse Ridge? If you did come from a big city, if you did come from a whole nother country, a whole nother part of this country, that is perfect, that is wonderful, and we're happy to have you here. We are an open community and we will not turn you away. However, there are different things, both supernaturally and non supernaturally, that might cause some growing pains that are not necessarily a bad thing. uh, with the way that wherever you came from, your magic could have been different, or the way your vampire culture was could have been different, or even just the stuff you used to eat is different. That'll cause growing pains here and there, and we ask that you work with us into integrating yourself into the current culture. By all means, make waves. We're not asking you to become assimilated. Please don't, that's boring. If everyone's the same, that's not going to make a good story. However, if you do come in thinking that huge town amenities will be available in this tiny town, that'll be a little difficult. And in characterly, that is a fantastic way to drive your story. Out of characterly, we will try to work with you, but we can't make any guarantees that we're going to turn over the infrastructure to make way for a giant parking lot. You know what I mean? Do we have any questions so far? I know that I'm rambling. I know that I'm bouncing around a lot. Are we on the same page so far? I love the strokes to my ego. I appreciate that. So far, so good. Same page. Perfect. That does bring us into wiggle room. Just like I said, we're not going to dictate where you came from and what you did or who you are. Just that we ask that you start recognizing your surroundings. That does bring us into wiggle rooms that come in with species and how your magic, how your werewolf cultures, how your vampiric customs interact and meld in with the greater Eclipse Ridge culture. I will turn this over to Iden.
First, before I jump into this fully, I just wanted to give a little bit more introductions as more people have joined. We have Birdie in chat, who is part of the R&D,
Hi,
our
Birdie.
newest member, and so they'll be in chat, just engaging with y'all. We also have the fantastic Elsie, that is our event manager. She is utterly wonderful. We have Davis, who is our werewolf mentor. We have Nari, who is our Sine mentor, and of course, we introduced Helena. God, I hope I did not forget anyone. No, I didn't. Okay, but yes. So those are always people to see and go to for those respective things. Yeah, just wanted to give it a quick shout out there. But now we're moving a little bit into Wiggle Room, and I don't know if Leia, if you want to begin this or if you want me to step in. What do you want to do?
Go
Oh,
ahead.
great
I try.
presenter.
I try. Oh no, sorry. Go for it.
Sounds
I'll
good.
interrupt.
Love it. All right, all right. So the overall reminder we want to offer is this is not the exact best time to offer like specific questions. It's okay to ask like overall questions, but if you have a specific question for your specific question, oh my, for your specific character, that should be a ticket. Make that a ticket just because we can't offer the best nuance while on stage. We can just we're offering kind of general concepts. Um, but if you have it, like pop it in a ticket right now, and then we'll engage, of course, after this. Uh, but we're going to start with witches because that's the first on our thing. So I'm going to throw it right back to Ezra. So have fun.
Wow, okay. So, with witches, I don't know if we have too many witches in chat. I know we got Helena. If we have other witches in chat, please raise your hand. If not, this is still applicable to you, especially if you play a species that in any way interacts with the load, be it Fey, werewolf, vampire, Vocatus, etc. So, with witches, the spellworks and all the stuff you can do can expand past what is listed in the grimoire. That is a that is a guideline that helps organize the things that we currently have. But if you have ideas for spells, rituals, and cantrips that you think can fall under the element given, absolutely. We encourage that. And we ask that you submit a ticket so we can log that for ourselves. Your spell does not have to become public. You submitting a ticket does not mean that suddenly it's going to be logged into the grimoire without your consent. Anybody and anyone can learn it. No, not if you don't want that. But we also ask that you do keep in mind that if you are casting that spell in public and someone else can see that, they might try to replicate that through their own means. And by doing so with your own means, I want to give an example with my lovely witch, Lizer. He does not practice magic the same way that is firmly established in the region. Uh, Gonna bounce back to a very brief history, I promise. The region was settled not only by Spanish, and Scottish, Irish, and English miners, but it also goes back to the indigenous peoples of the Arapaho and the Ute Nation that was here. Lizer doesn't practice any of that kind of magic, though all of that magic can be present here as well as any other kind. He draws on a very specific type of mysticism, a Jewish mysticism that doesn't look the same as it would in Ireland, Scotland, etc. I don't have the same evocations to use the magic that someone else would. I don't have the same way of yeah, to put it in different terms, I don't cast magic the same as other people, and that's perfectly fine. We're not going to tell you that you have to use the Gaelic invocation of the sisters to cast this magic. Absolutely not. If you are from Germany, use your German spells. If you're from South Africa, use your South African spells. Use whatever lore that you choose to come from and expand on the magic. Make it more rich for us to use. We want the diversity. We want to build this grimoire up. Do we have any questions so far?
You can tell you work with kids.
I hope that's a good thing.
All right. We're gonna move right into vampires. Well, it's gonna be a little bit more broader. I've even had engaged in tickets about this just not too long ago. So those that know. Some of the differences in wiggle room that we have with vampires is one of the biggest is the sire and progeny differences. Even though we have rules around it and whatnot, there's a lot of give and take in that. How it manifests and how it engages. If it is a very, very big deal to your character, even though there is social ramifications and concepts around it, we have a lot of differences and wiggle room to see how powerful a sire is over a progeny and whatnot. Um, as well as the manifestation of powers, especially because we have prowesses and ineptitudes within vampires. The mixture of them, as well as the weaknesses within them, is a great way to find wiggle room. It's a great way to hone in your vampire's very specific brand, um, as well as enjoyment with different types of blood, which will get interesting here in just a little bit. But for now, it's the flavors of them, what your character enjoys, yada yada. That's a great bit of wiggle room. And then, of course, the concept of broods. We've been seeing a lot of brood activity lately, and we hope to boom it here more and more. But the way that your character involves themselves in their brood, if they even want to be part of the brood, or their fight in between being unbrooded and brooded, as I know a ton of people have leaned into, and it has been a ton of fun seeing the um, movement from that. Who's in charge of what brood? If it just really really quick, if it helps, the Leia is the brood mother of the Ecclesia Noctis. as well as she is the speaker currently for the Drift. So both of those you would go to her. Father. Oh my God, Aiden is the brood father
Daddy.
to the Mageus or Majestas. I'm sorry, I fuck it up every time. Y'all have no idea. But he is the speaker for the Creed currently. Um, but yeah, and always feel free to engage. Always feel free to reach out. I try to be incredibly active in Ask Staff as well as the vampire. But anyways, moving on to werewolves. Um, the wiggle room with werewolves currently is that you do not need to lean into pack mentality. There doesn't you don't need to be the werewolf that is like, oh no, I have to be alpha. There is nothing like that. You can of course, but there's the very much the wiggle room. Whereas a lot of places kind of in push that you don't. But in addition to, you can also make your own pack. A lot like witches and covens. You have the ability to actually form your own pack and whatnot. For the future of werewolves, know that there is current workings being led by our fantastic werewolf leads. But moving forward on making werewolves the ability to be a little bit more customized. So definitely look forward to that as we prioritize that in the coming months. Um, Next we're moving on to Sine, the one that none of us can spell. Um, Sine's biggest wiggle room is yeah, I hope it's Cairns. Is it Cairns? Am I right about pronouncing that? I'm so sorry,
Yes.
y'all.
That's
My
how I'd say it.
pronunciation.
Yep.
Oh,
Karen's.
thank God. Cairns is the biggest thing because not only do you get to pick your Cairns, and they can alter and whatnot, but also you get to pick the way that your character can engage with corruption, the way that your character finds their balance. Or how to speak through. um, because whereas like the examples given is typically between predator and prey, it's not always that. Such as Ronin is between prey and avian, and so it isn't always a very strict what you would typically see in nature. It is what your character themselves would find balance in, and that is something that you can deeply lead into, and that's really cool. So exactly, yeah, I think things that is the best way to engage with Sine differences and the wiggle room above around them is though many Sine kind of fall into the typical um you know bear to fight and this and this and this. I've seen a lot of Sine, especially here, which is beautiful. Lean into what speaks to your character and what's not the best for, I guess, a metagamey combat thing, but more so who is your character and why are they connected to that animal. Exact, so cute. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, and to push the creativity again, be creative with why you chose your animals. Elsie has, I can't remember all the details, and I don't want to steal her thunder, but she has the one of the funniest stories of why she had a Chinese crested for the longest time. It doesn't have to be super serious, and it doesn't have to, but it also doesn't have to be super silly. That we leave that to you. And I will also take in this opportunity to bring up in character consequences really quick because you are not inherently bound to choose a native animal to the region you are in, but realize doing so will put a target on your back. If I'm out walking up in the mountains and I see a seal, that's going to raise some eyebrows. What's a seal doing in the middle of the Rocky Mountains? That's going to be weird. So keep that in mind. Don't put too much of a target on your back. But please be creative. Have fun with it. That's all this is a game. That's what we want you to do. Bad birdie.
um, and moving from Sine to Fae, one of the biggest things you'll see about Fae is the appearance differences. Um, Fae look exceptionally different. just from the Fae that I have seen, I have not seen a Fae that I go, oh yeah, no, you can both like it is vastly different, and I think it's the benefit of true forms. I think we'll see the same with Vocatus. As we see more and more Vocatus on Sim, we will see the same creativity and difference in appearance. But going back to Fae, um, one of the best ways I've seen in Wiggle Room is the way that magic manifests in Fae. A lot like witches. Not only can it be from different mysticisms, but also just because they are part of the load, their magic is incredibly what's the word? Vibrant, I guess, in a way, and versatile in the way of none of them are the same. And I think that that is something to really lean into with Fae of go hardcore into your element, go hardcore into that power because one of the benefits to Fae is our power comes from the element that season. Um, and I think it's something that witches are great at leaning into of the versatility of their magic, their ability to play the in between and the finite details, the rituals, all that beauty. As well as best thing for Faye that I would love to see more is lean into the season and how the season that is not your power is uncomfortable. It's about balance and yeah, your season you're all powerful and that's fun to play, but also lean into the opposite of your season. The summer Fae and winter, the winter Fae and summer, those are heavy. It has an effect on your character. There is a instinctual discomfort of existing in a space that is not your that is not your season. So that's a great wiggle room that I hope more and more people lean into. And next is the Revenants and Vocatus, and this I will hand to Leia.
So, you guys have been doing so great. I love being able just to sit here and lean back in my chair. Um, so, Revenants and Vocatus are two of our unique takes on um, characters. We haven't based them off any like given species before. We have mixed and tried to bring elements from different lores and stories in there. Um, right now, they both sorely need a 2.0 makeover. When we which is so funny because they were the ones that were the breaking edge when, when we first wrote them because we were getting better into what our lore was and having an idea. But I think it was a year ago for both of them, a little over a year ago that we released both of them, and yeah, it's time. Um, I had said our lore changes as stories develop, as people come in, we get ideas, we see things just naturally shift. That's one thing that Finn and I was always wanting to have is a collaborative feel, but an open lore. You go to so many Sims, and it's just this is it. Well, how does that make sense with this XYZ, or if there's growth or this or that, and it never made sense. I feel like it's like stories, it's like soap operas. There's always change. There's always something happening, um, and it's one of my favorite things about storytelling is just seeing where it goes. We use the lore as a guidance, as a jumping off point. We use it as a way to get everybody on the same platform so that you guys can explore and build your characters. So, with that said, Revenants and Vocatus, we need a little bit of grace. There is some wiggle room with how they are. We have made Revenants a application only. They're the ones that need the most love, unfortunately. My babies. I love that species, and I can't wait to make some changes that we've started discussing. Vocatus are the next ones. They're more popular right now than Revenants, so their 2.0 will probably come before the Revenants. I'm not giving any hard dates, but my goal is by the end of the summer is to have at least Vocatus as the species updated. I might have more, I might have less. I don't know. Goals are goals. But if there are questions, if you don't understand, if you need to have a further clarification and you're playing one of these species, please submit a ticket and please be patient with us because we do understand that some things weren't completely spelled out or they kind of contradict or conflict and stuff, but there's also some really great stuff that you can focus on as well that you can play with and start in there. And the great thing is if you're currently playing one of these species, you're not going to have to do a rewrite of who your character is. We have always tried to be really good at making sure there's a story around why these changes happen, making sure that there is a reason and it doesn't decimate your character and you feel like you have to start all over. So just with that, we'll make sure that we do that with you guys. So I'm going to ask, are there, oh, Ezra's going to talk.
I'm going to jump in
Okay.
super quick. And specifically when it comes to Vocatus, something that is near and dear to my heart is as they stand currently. This may change. I'm not making any promises. I'm not hinting at anything. I genuinely do not know. But as it stands now, I want to reiterate that when it comes to Vocatus, they are loosely based on a very broad and generic theological element that is not centered in any one religion. But they became more or less a catch-all of what didn't neatly fit into the other species, like fae, like witches, like vampires, and whatnot. With that being said, and we have not had an issue, so this is not me pointing anybody out, but just be delicate with that. Is that if you do choose to be a demon, not everyone's gonna believe in the hell you come from, and that's fine. That doesn't mean you exist any less, but don't use it as a means to preach a message. If you choose to do that in characterly, hey, I get it. Have fun with that. You want to be a crazy religious person in character? That's totally fine. That stays in character. We do not have any sort of religious supremacy here, and if you feel we do, let us know that. Thank you.
Also, tangentially from that point, when dealing with matters of religion or culture, be sensitive to the fact that you may be role playing with somebody from that culture and treat it respectfully.
Please.
And just to pop in here, that I agree this is very sensitive with Brocatus. Please do that with any character and any species. Recognize that though I know that many people will play witches that are not from pagan communities, recognize and do not bastardize them for fun. That is a good overall concept of if you're going to play something that you are not comfortable with or you're not educated in, educate yourself before you step into that.
Please and Franks.
But moving on to other thoughts. I gotta hear a lot of my voice. So I'm going to first start this as the concept of there's going to be many people that enjoy 100% clover. That there is going to be people that wish to make their own spells, which we already have templates for. Wish to make their own powers, that wish to make their own A, B, C, and D. Um, Understand that there's a few steps that we're going to offer you as someone who actually before I was R&D, before I was even a mentor, I was very much this person. I cannot tell you how many tickets I have in my name. um, Making unique powers and whatnot comes with multiple things. One of the biggest thing is knowing the lore. I think everyone wants to come in with a previous character or concept that we all have, and we're like, oh, but I'd really like to do this. I would like to have people to avoid that concept. Come in with a character that you can read the lore, that you can grab onto the lore, that you can understand it, you can understand where we are, what type of community we are, and then from there create a power that seems to be lacking or that you would like to explore in this community. Don't make a power just for your character to have. And with that, um, using templates are huge. The which is template for spells is a great thing to look at. But also, like we were going to begin to make templates as well for powers and whatnot, to help people recognize what we're looking for in it. Um, One of the biggest thing is there a Fey template? Currently no, because Fey are not like witches in the fact of they do not get precise, unique spells. However, that's not to say that we couldn't create one or you couldn't use the witch one and offer one. Because most of the time, witch spells are a bit more broader, such as we have like pyrokinesis, which is the controlling of all fire. Whereas witches don't really get pyrokinesis, they get fireball or light fire and things like that. So whereas witches are far more precise about their spells, Fae, we have little broader descriptions because it's like we can do all of that. We just can't do all the. But that's not to say that you couldn't use the witch spell and offer it. And if we can either tell you that's already included, so feel free to use that, or we can always have a talk and see if it keeps the balance. And there's other places that we can use it to help balance things. One of the biggest things, and that is this is something I'd like to push. Whenever you submit things, try to make them not alter universal weaknesses. Though there might be things in the future coming that might affect those, understand the universal weaknesses are there for a reason. Um, those weaknesses are there to balance a race, such as sunlight and vampires. Though I know it can be inconvenient, there's a reason they're there. Vampires are rather strong. I know it sometimes doesn't feel like it. Goodness, do I feel that? But they have a niche part of them that is the strongest, just like any species has, the strongest in something. So recognize that if it's going to be okay, is stupid about there's never going to be a spell that goes, okay, you can go out in sunlight, period, you're fine. No, there shouldn't be anything like that. There may be, things in the future like charms or this. There might be charms right now, I don't know. That allow that. Those are always temporary. And so always go in with a skill or that concept of if it's going to affect a universal, it will always be a temporary effect because those are there for a reason. Um, and next is exactly, yeah. Um, Collaboration. Um, I adore it, and you'll see me most often. But in the character building chats and in tickets, if you want something and you're like, hey, I have the basis, I have the benefit, I have the weakness, but I just want to help flesh it out in the lore, reach out to us. There's a lot of us, such as me, that love to go. I mean, I am going to call them out. I feel so bad for Rem because Rem, as well as Alexis, has asked questions, and I have given them 17 questions in response, and they've had to kind of go back and forth with me about them. So no, I love it. I am just as sorry, but know that there is many of us, especially in the R&D team, that will work with you. If you want a concept, we will always be blunt that if the concept can't work, but we will try our hardest to work with you. So if you have an idea for a custom thing, if you have anything like that, reach out to us. Character building chat or ticket, we're here to help you. Exactly. Yeah, we very much enjoy it, and it helps us every tick, even if it's criticism and saying, "Hey, I feel like this is disbalanced." It helps us to talk to us because that allows us for the next lore for us to look at things and balance better. It's never a bad thing to go, "This is unbalanced," because we can either offer you how we balance it, or we go, "Yeah, that is unbalanced. Thank you for bringing it to our attention." So please, tickets, character building chat, we're here for you. And with that, moving on. Um, with every custom ability, with every custom spell, it is not unique to you. And that is something you have to accept when you offer it. Though that we will not display it, though it will not be, okay, here's a new available spell. If somebody sees it in character, they now have the ability to begin to learn it. Our hope is that they will go through your character, and then it's an expansion of it, of your character being the one that was able to teach people to do this, and so it is still yours. However, understand that anything you offer, just like anything any of us has offered to the lore, is now within the lore, and now anyone can use. So if you bring an idea, understand that it will not solely be yours. It is offered into the zeitgeist that is our lore.
There's a $4 word.
Did I use it right?
Yeah, I
Oh,
think so.
thank God. Um, 100%. Great example, Taff. Great example. Yeah, so things like that, just know that it will be offered to the greater, but not, always. Like I said, I have offered a custom ability. I recognize it. It's going to be taken. I just hope it will be taken in a way that allows my character to teach people, because I would love for that to be part of me offering this skill. Um, but all the same, that's just one to let you know, that your uniqueness doesn't, and to offer that your uniqueness doesn't come from your spells or your unique abilities. It comes from the combination of your character, your background, your personal flair. You don't lose anything by somebody else having that spell, because just like I'm grabbing to like Jonathan and Helena, both of them are going to cast the same spell differently because of all of that, because their magic comes from different places, because they have different inspirations, because they're different people. That's where your uniqueness comes from, not an ability. So you offering an ability takes nothing away from you except expands it. And then you get to use a cool ability, and everyone will go, oh, that's cool. Because I've done that a few times. Witches are cool, bro. Um,
I will say that I am not. Lizer is by no means the only Corpus Ridge. There are some really amazing Corpus Witches in Eclipse Ridge, and I've never seen us use the same spell the same way. Not
mm-hmm.
once. And I encourage y'all to keep that individuality within yourselves. But you are more than welcome to use the guidelines given. Stick as close to them as you want to, but nah, do not be afraid to go a little funky with it.
Now that you've mentioned it, I know we have a good handful of ward witches, and I don't think any of us do stuff the same way. Because I know Anya pretty much is an oddball compared to everybody else, but everybody else is doing awesome shit.
Absolutely.
And to also bring up, there was, funny enough, I was going to bring up mine. I submitted my ability twice. Once when I got here about 3 months in, and it was a firm no. And I was like, cool. And I took that on the chin. It wasn't the best time, so I took that and I moved on. I was asked with the rewrites to resend it. So understand that if you were given a no, especially in the 1.0 era, resubmit the idea. Talk to, put it in character building or put it in a ticket. Talk to us about it. Because maybe it might be a yes now, or maybe we can get it to a yes now that there is far more resources of people able to help with this lore. So if it was a no, if you got a no at some point about a spell or an ability or even a background, reach back out. This is the time that the 1.0 no's may not be a no anymore.
I want to insert.
Now,
I want to insert
yeah,
here with this. When you come, and maybe you'll get into this a little bit too, but when you guys come, flesh out your ideas. I don't get me wrong, I love hearing about ideas, but I have so many of my own. I have so many with the lore, the background, and stuff. I can't necessarily change my brain quick enough to come up with it. So make sure you're coming up with what you want. What are the consequences? What is your character going to sacrifice? What's the range of it? What is it going to affect the sim? Is it just an individual thing? The more information that you give us, the more likely we're going to be able to maybe come to an agreement or figure out, if not now, maybe a few weeks down the road, or when we go to launch a story. I've had so many people come and talk to us, like Aiden said, with ideas, and they were not we were not in a place where we could do it. But now I'm still pulling. I'm going, hey, weren't you, like, wasn't there an idea? And I go and I try to find those people and talk to them, going, hey, I think we can slide it in now. So but it would help us so tremendously be able to work with you more if you come with that idea a little flesh. It doesn't have to be perfect, never perfect, just well enough that we can have a good discussion around it.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm gonna be so real. None of us are paid to do this. We do this in our free time, and if you do some of the work for us, hey, consider that a bribe. That might grease the wheels a little bit, you know. Um, but yeah, no, really, you use the templates. And it doesn't have to be super perfect, but yeah, like Leia said, refine it a little bit, and we're more than happy to help you the next step of the way because this is your spell, this is your attribute, this is part of your character. We don't want to dictate what your character does and does not do. We want you to come with us of why your character should be able to because it is your character.
And with that, I also want to say, do though I agree, come in with a template, come in with as much information. Do not. Thank you so much for being here, Clover.
Thank you, Clever.
Um, do not come in with the concept of all or nothing. That is the best way to get a no. It is also, as like I can say from somebody that has witnessed it happen, the fastest way for it to burn you. Come in with, this is my idea, this is what I have so far. How do we work it into the lore? Because we're going to work with you as much as you work with us. But if you have a firm, this is how it has to be, else it's not worth it, then it's not worth it. Because I assure you, like, there is no talk that we have had as R&D that one of us have come in with an idea that it's been yes immediately. Nah, all we do, that's why the team
No,
is
we rip each other apart.
yeah, we chunk it away, we find it to refine it for the lore. So know that it's not us being mean, it's us trying to ensure it fits in the lore and balances. Because we don't want any race to feel weak, nor do we want it to be overpowerful.
Poor Davis was thrown into the frying pan, but he's done so well.
Absolutely.
Ah, I knew it was coming.
Don't. No, and that's yeah, that's one of the things. No, that's one of the things that is fantastic about
I mean,
mentors and whatnot is.
if a
Go on.
werewolf can't handle a little bit of mauling, are they really even a werewolf?
Oh, will do, Rem. I'll write that down. Don't you worry. We have some plan. But ironically, this goes into our perfect thing. We wanted to quickly bring up as new storylines come out and there will be a new round of acceptance and this. We do want to bring in trigger warnings. Just to speak on them briefly. With the expansion of lore comes the ability to make things darker, and many of us enjoy the darker sides. Many of us don't. We want to establish that we are a very consent-forward sim. Um, Not only consent at the beginning of making sure that everyone knows what may or may not happen, because we never know, but like engaging to make sure that's why we have the list of things that you would consent to, but also checking in regularly because not everybody has a list at the beginning of roleplay. So check in regularly, make sure that people are comfortable, ensure you're up to date on everyone's limits, and recognize that if you are walking into roleplay on a sim that is happening, understand your limits and understand that if something is happening in that RP that triggers you, step back out. You are not, especially if you're walking into a role play, they may not know and may not have catered to your trigger warnings because they're engaging it. Though it's an open sim, recognize that if there is something that's going to trigger you, step back out, move on, and don't engage too much. Like if your character is, let's say, triggered by, if you are triggered by kidnapping and you see it say kidnapping happen, I agree that your character might go straight to the police, but understand that that means that you will now be involved in that roleplay a great deal because now you have to talk about that constantly to the police. You have to do this. There's many ways that your character rationalizes it and moves on. There's many ways that you can find to not involve yourself in the roleplay, but understand that if there's a triggering roleplay and you involve yourself in it, even in the sidelines, you may be subject to it. So, if something happens and there's a trigger warning, you don't know how to get your character out of it, message us. Take it. We will help you get out of it. We will ensure that everybody knows why it's occurring and ensure that you don't engage that roleplay again. But it's unfair that if you have a trigger warning and a roleplay is happening and you still involve yourself, that those people now can't respond because it's a limit of yours. Understand that limits do go both ways. Um, as well as understand that because we all have trigger warnings. Sometimes it's different things. Some of us have trigger warnings around guns. There's been quite a few guns on sim. That is understandable. Understand that there is nothing wrong with consistently leaving roleplay. And it sucks. There is many times that I have left roleplay for my own trigger warnings that it sucks. I was in the middle of a great scene, it happened. It's a bummer. Recognize that you need to engage your real life first. And engage if a player is making you uncomfortable. Message them. Say, hey man, I have a limit around this. I'm gonna try to avoid you. You can try to avoid me, and that's okay. Like that is a okay to engage it. I will happily uh, engage that tab because I will say that with the storylines coming up, yes, we are going to push for a great balance. Hopefully, between not only between that, between the darker stories and the lighter stories, but also the concept of people who want to engage in combat and people who don't. People that want to see the investigatory sides, people who want to see the gentler sides, even the cuter and funnier sides. Yes, that is something that very much so we are pushing to have that balance because you're right. Even though a lot of us enjoy the darker stories, we want to, especially with Simrun events, have an overall difference. Just because yes, like we, at least I love my darker and I love my slice of life. Like I think that there needs to be a balance, and it's far more fun. I love that, Sophie. 100%. 100%. Yeah, you need to be, and if in the moment you can't express your trigger, that's okay. I know a lot of people have to step back, but just reach back out to that person, speak to them. And if you can't, reach out and take it. Maybe we can find a way to assist you, find a way to word it. But yeah, like it is always good to just be communication forward with people because I have not met a person on Sim that I didn't reach out to that hasn't been incredibly respectful about that. And if you find someone that you express a trigger to and they snap back, reach out to us. That is something that we definitely need to know at least because it could pose things later. We are a consent forward sim, and we expect everyone to abide by that consent forward mentality. Um. Oh yes, and just really quick, with understanding that, yes, don't you worry. That is something that we have definitely looked into, and had great feedback last time about. So that will be something we are looking at expanding. But with that, we also want to push forward that with the inherent background as Ezra has offered about the sim, where it is in this what understand that the biggest ramifications you will most likely find on the sim are going to be social. There will, there's hunters. There is also that will be coming up the engagement of the places around the sim and how they engage with us. But there's also the social ramifications in the sim, which can manifest in different ways. It can manifestation in the Ooh, I'm not even gonna try.
Being excluded.
There we go. Yep. It
Oh, that
can
word.
manifest in
Ostracized.
wisp. Yeah, thank you. Whispers behind your back. It can, the typical small townness. So recognize that if those ramifications are uncomfortable to you, definitely look at what you're role playing, why, who you're associating with, and all of that. If you want more in that, definitely look at the Conflict RP guide. We offer a lot of that in there explaining it. We just want to offer that the majority of ramifications you will find here is social, and that may suffer RP. So just recognize everything about that and why it's social and why we do not have police coming in every time something happens. Yes, very much, Sav.
Yeah,
That's
that's an
huge.
excellent point. That I this is a shroud or veil based sim, um, which means there are consequences to you telling everybody who everybody else is. And if Jesse were a witch and he were to tell Tav, I'm a witch. And then Tav promptly advertises to everybody that she met that Jess is a witch. Jess is not going to say anything to her anymore. Tav would never. But keep that in mind. Loose lips sink ships. And there are real dangers that come with outing your friends. Be very careful. Only do it with confidants. And if you do want to expose the people around you to that kind of danger, we're a consent forward sim. Ask them first. Before you go turning in your friends to the crazy hunter people, ask the person if they're down with that. Because if they're not, we're putting it on you to be a little more creative in not doing that and find another way around it.
And to push also, Nari's thing if we don't have enough cops. That is a very, very common issue. I have seen that between all platforms, let me tell you. Um, Cops as well as hunters are rarely played. And I think one of the biggest reasons, like I've seen many, but one of the biggest reasons is I have even on this sim, and many others, there is a harshness between in-character consequences. Many people grab from what they've seen on shows or what they think would be fun for their RP and not acknowledging that the cops are also role players. That ramifications and engaging in it is fun for both sides until there is suddenly not any ramification, and then there's no reason for them to be there.
But
So very much. Oh, go on. Go on.
I want I see that comment a little differently. I want just because there are not enough players does not mean that the city does not have enough cops or sheriffs
True.
to do that stuff. That's one thing that I have noticed a lot is we base what happens on the size of the player, not actually the base of the environment and the people who play. So do keep that in mind, just because um, a storyteller says owners hear things, and so we might reach out and be like, "Hey, we got you. You know, we know it wasn't a sheriff, but do you want to play this out? Or if you do something and you want it to be played out, it's okay to take some initiative and say, hey, I'm going to commit a crime. Can the cops be around to do that? I believe Rim just did that with Alex with his traffic stop and stuff. And so they can be around with a little bit of planning with that. But that's always one thing that I guess that's my one of my pet peeves is that everybody assumes the size of the town is based off the number of players, not by actual environment. So just wanted to throw that one out there too.
Yeah,
No, and I honestly. Oh, go on. Sorry.
oh,
Go on.
I was just gonna say, yeah, the big thing on that is we can arrange it if we know. Just because we're not there at the time doesn't mean you can't toss us a ticket and say we did this. We are open to consequences because anywhere you are, it like out in public on the sim, you can bet that there's probably at least two or three people around to see what you're doing.
It's a good way to start a story hook.
And always engage with. I mean, with that is even if there is no one in character on. I've done it a few times. Do slash me and lower your voice for the because there is clientele around. There is people around. There is so you can always lower your voice. It doesn't mean you need to leave immediately. It doesn't mean you need to, but you need to acknowledge that you are never the only people. Acknowledge that there is NPCs around that they will engage. And that there's cameras. Recognize that we're in 2026. I don't know many places, even apartments pass by and I hear ring cameras. There's cameras everywhere nowadays. Be very cautious the way you engage because most businesses will have a camera.
Or three.
Or three. And they're no longer as grainy as you think. But yes, but with that, that is my spiel. On to Leia with the next cool part.
Okay, so I'm going to keep encouraging guys. If you are getting some questions, make sure you put them in chat because this is this next part, next part might actually bring some questions, but also we are going to spend some time at the end answering a couple questions for you. Um, so we have had when we first started with the load, we had a page that had some just basic information on it. Which is funny thinking back. It was very little information about what the load was, and very little information about how it may interact. It basically said that the only people that can access the load were witches and fae, and that was about the extent of it, besides being able to use like an amulet or a trinket or something like that. As we have developed the backstory, as we've developed the species with the witches and the fae and the others, it has been fun to see and figure out more of what that load actually is for the region and for Eclipse Ridge. So we have, I think I briefly mentioned this maybe at Ridge Roundup, but we actually have a load workup in works and should be released at the next Ridge Roundup, which is June 16th. And I want to give you guys a little bit of a preview of what will be included with this change, because it will affect all species with this. So without further ado, I want to put a disclaimer out real fast. We understand again, and I didn't kind of do that at the beginning. We know people bring their characters from all over. You guys have been playing these characters for years. Leah started as a vampire pirate 18 years ago and has developed into what she is today. So I get it. I totally understand. And she lived her life for quite a few years on a different role play sim. So I know how hard it is to try to readjust story and abilities and stuff with that. We don't do that to punish. It's just it's kind of like you're coming into a new world and you have to learn how to adapt with that. And so it's not, the load and how it's going to interact is not meant to take control of your story, but it's a shared framework for the setting. We want you to be able to think of it as stepping into a different timeline, or where the influence subtly shapes what your character can access, how they wield it, and how it feels to exist within the space. The load affects everything. Think of, this is the worst example, but think of smog. Everyone's affected of it. Some people are affected more than others, but it affects everybody. And so the load is similar to that. It's energy. It's the sun. It's what it touches everything. So I was going to read you a bit. So it starts, the load, a living reservoir of magic. Beneath Old Town lies something far, far older than its streets, its buildings, or even its name. The load is not a place you can stand in, nor a thing you can hold. It is a convergence of a vast reservoir of magical energy formed where multiple ley lines collide and pull together. Much like a closed basin lake, the load gathers power that flows inward from distant sources, but does not naturally drain away. Magic collects here, it settles here, it lingers, and over time it changes. And we'll have a actual greater, I guess we could say that. So for our reference point, the load, it affects the Rocky Mountain region. So all the way from Canada down to the, what part of Mexico? It goes down into Mexico a little bit too, and the range itself. So that whole area, that is where our load will affect. So if you ever go to leave, you will probably tap into a different magic system. Think of your cell phones when you tap into different towers. It's kind of that same idea. We are going to have something cool now when people arrive or leave Eclipse Ridge for a certain amount of time. Ezra, did you want to tell them that part? I know you're excited about it, so that's why I was going to pass it to you for a second if you want.
Terrible time for me to take a bite of a chip.
Ah! So sorry.
Okay. So, there are many different ways in which these sicknesses can affect a person who either comes into or leaves a certain ley lines area. We want to think about it like altitude sickness. If you're coming down in from Houston, Texas, and you go all the way up to Evergreen, Colorado, within the span of less than a day, if you can get through Texas that fast, you're going to get real sick. You're going to get headaches, migraines, maybe nauseous, and your life's going to be hell for a little bit because you are acclimating to the new environment in which you are. It's that same principle that we apply to whenever you're coming and going from the load. If you're coming into Eclipse Ridge and you're coming all the way from Mongolia, that's a completely different ley line that is going to. They're not going to fight it out when you get here, but you're going to have a lot of acclimation to do. There are many different names that are very region specific. Some call it slide rock bolter disease, which harkens to the mythical creature here in Colorado. Some call it Tommyknocker scourge, also a Colorado reference, and it's the strange sickness you get whenever you get into this specific region. We look very much forward into elaborating on that whenever we release the load. But keep in mind that it is not just I'm here and then I'm there. We want you to come and go, but we also hope to enhance your coming and going.
Exactly. Thank you. And we will have we'll have the names. We'll have some things, some side effects that you could be feeling that you could use. So we will definitely be making you guys do that. With that, I had played that with Leah coming back. She really actually had a real lack of energy for a few days trying to reacclimate. So it's not just going to be the witches and all the species. You will feel it. The load is trying to feel its way around you and decide what to do with you. When you leave, it's the load pulling back what it's shared with you because it's such a finite reserve that it needs to keep for itself to keep the region and the stuff going. So, and this will be more explained. You'll be able to read it, dive into it, be geeks about it. It'll be great. So with that said, let me go down to the next part. So going with that, we will be making a big adjustment to load gems. We have used the load gems, which are the rubies, diamonds, sapphires, and emeralds, as batteries, right, to hold the energy. We will be actually having the change come with a dramatic event that you will feel, but you may not know why it happened. But that's going to be part of the fun of figuring out why did this just happen? Why are we feeling these effects? Low gems will be changing to be converters. They will be helping witches be able to convert all that energy. Whereas Fae, it goes through them, they convert it. They are converters themselves. Witches can't do that. They don't have that ability. It would burn them up and make them crazy. So it will be in a lot more detail. So at the same time that we release the load magic rework, we will be doing an update to the magic systems of the witches. This will also be affecting amulets, potions, and wards that have been out there. We have, as of today, I was trying to figure out a couple things. Those who already have low gems, I have figured out a way that they will be able to still be in your possession because you guys have earned those through story. And I don't want to take those from you, but there will not be new ones given to non-witch species. So be prepared for that. However, we are opening the door to being able to utilize other gems if you would like to represent or to hold that energy and different things with that, which hopefully will expand for the ward witches and stuff as well. That here's all this new opportunities of things to enchant and to use to hold energy. those will actually be the battery, and they will have a lifespan, and they will either be a one and done, or they will need to be taken back to the witch, or there will be different things that need to happen to recharge those. So we will make sure that, so you want to definitely be at Ridge Roundup on the 16th, because we will have it fully explained and ready for you guys to go with, here's the bomb drop, go out and play with it with that. So
Now, so sorry, please go on.
go for it.
With that being said, that was a big bomb in itself. I want to put y'all at ease that if y'all have, like, just like Leia said, we're not going to be taking stuff about that. Anything you've earned through roleplay, we don't plan on taking away from you. If you have a some kind of charm that someone has made for you, we don't plan on yoinking that out of your fingers and now you're SOL. We're not gonna grandfather them in per se, but we are going to be changing how those get there, and hope to release a story of this doesn't work anymore, but why, and how can I get that back. So anything that you have acquired that is no longer applicable through the new load rollout, we promise you we're not just trying to stick it to you dry without lube. Promise you that's not the case. We are rolling out a new system, and we want to work with you on how you can keep what you got or get something better. That is up to you, though. If you do choose to lose your stuff, that's a fantastic story, and lean into that, because that'll be so much fun.
And to bounce off of that, for those big questions that are, yeah, specific to people, of course, wait for the 16th. But just want to also emphasize, y'all, tickets. Don't DM people. Don't be. Please put it in a ticket, because that is the best way for us to see immediately, as the whole lore team and R&D team, okay, what do we need to engage during that Ridge Roundup? Because if we see 3 tickets with the same question, it's like, okay, we need to go over this. But if people are doing DMs and whatnot, just know that anything written in DMs is not canon. That is a personal opinion. Engage in tickets every time, because that allows all of us to see it and allows us to give a full response. But again, don't stress too much. Wait until the 16th to see the load thing before too many big questions, because we can't offer many of them until that's released.
But yeah, so I'm sorry for the bomb, but hopefully it's a fun bomb that you guys get to play with. I mean, we even have some synth gems out there too that are gonna need to get some reevaluation and we figuring out. So it's going to affect a lot of people, but we want it to be, like Aiden said, this, and Ezra, we want this to be something that you guys have fun working through and figuring out. There will be a replacement. We're not taking anything away. In fact, I feel like we're making it a bit easier, whereas that you don't have to worry, am I at 10%, am I at 60%, like where am I with this this gem. It's just going to be a very straightforward idea of how, when it comes to the trinkets and stuff like that, it's going to be on a passive timing, I guess, and it will be easy to know during the month where your gem stands or your trinket or your ward. And I also feel like it gives the witches a little bit more freedom to play with other things and kind of keep those gems more special to their species. And I hope, it might not be this summer, but into the fall, there'll be more historical backstory as to why those gems are connected to the witches. So I was talking to someone last night, and it was funny because I was telling her, yeah, I'm still trying to figure this out, and I said something, I went, oh, there we go. I know what just frickin' happened. So that's kind of how this lore works. There's so much now that I had seeds planted when we first started, thinking, oh, would it be cool to do this? Finn would throw out ideas too, and it's funny, some didn't come to fruition for over a year and a half, 2 years. So, like, I love story. I like a slow burn and a fast burn and everything in between. So, but my overall, if we're wrapping up and stuff, my overall thing is try to have some fun. This lore's my baby, and I love that I have so many people who have made their stories with it. It blows my mind that we have all these people who have made characters and have in intertwined themselves into the story and given me ideas, or see what they just do with a simple idea. I stand in awe all the time at what I see, and so I find it a privilege that I get to see my story played out live in front of me all the time, as well as I hope you guys get to enjoy and feel the freedom to express what you guys like to do. So
Heck yeah. As we're wrapping up, are there any questions?
yeah, you guys make sure you use character building chat. I made sure to update the description now, so it shouldn't be too confusing. But it's a great place just if you need a brainstorm, if you need some help, if you need a little bit of guidance, if it gets to be a little bit deeper of a conversation, you'll be nudged to start a ticket. But there are so many great creative minds in our server and on Sim that it amazes me what people come up with for each other, or help each other out, or what they offer. I'll be a victim, or yeah, totally, we could go do this scene together, or I'm looking for family. Can somebody play? So you can ask whatever you need of your character. That's the place to ask for that. And it's accessible to all our mentors and our R&D. So there's always going to be somebody there who can help. And we have so many seasoned. I mean, we have a lot of players who have been here since we basically opened, as well too. So they know they and love to be able to help mix in those stories as well. Well, good
My heart.
news. Good news. I love hearing that, but good news. We have no plans to go anywhere anytime soon. So,
Yay! All right. Then if y'all got no questions for us, I don't think any one of us has said the F bomb. That's pretty good.
well, that's a fucking crime. Haha.
See, that's why I stayed muted mostly.
No, I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to. I was so excited that people are actually still interested in these lore talks and wanting to be involved. And we actually have our next one already on the calendar. Iden, do you want to give them the fun news about what that one's going to be about?
Do we have it on the calendar already?
Yeah, we did. It's at the end of it's June. It's in June. It's oh shoot, what part of June?
Yes, it is in
Yes.
June.
I was like, wait a minute, it's in June.
Yeah, yeah, it's not on the calendar, but yeah. So that will be it's specific to its fans, right? Am I right on that?
It's gonna
Yes.
be the book, yeah, the compendium.
Oh yes. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't know if I was like, is that then? Yes, it will be. Oh, we have been working very hard on the Blood Continuum slash Blood Guide. Compendium, not continuum, compendium. Know that I have taken many suggestions. I of course have had to chisel, and we have I have thrown many ideas, and it's been exhausting. But I truly hope that you all enjoy it. I want people to know when you first look at it, there is a lot of species that may feel immediate fear around it. Please, when you read it, take a grace and understanding how we have balanced it and why we have balanced it that way. We are very much changing and adding quite a bit of features with blood, as well as perhaps a huge detriment to vampires. Um, so those of you that enjoy to either fuck over vampires or are a vampire yourself, get ready for that. Uh, so yes, I hope that y'all are incredibly excited about that. I am so excited to release it. It will most likely be released indeed on the 16th with the load. So you will have a week or two to look at it before we actually engage it. So make sure to keep your questions for then and whatnot, and I will we'll be going over it and all the fun parts of it. So yeah, be looking forward to that. I am looking forward to working it with you and helping all my vampy peeps and introducing themselves to it.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for coming. I love doing these guys with you guys. If you want to reference back, I will believe I should have this up on YouTube tomorrow, if not by Sunday. We have other lore talks already up there that we have done. I think we've done 3 or 4. This will be 5 possibly. So we do have a YouTube channel. Just look up Eclipse Ridge and you'll see that all there too. And yeah, we want to keep doing these things and doing some more. So everybody have a great night. Go have some fun. Go chase somebody in the forest. It's the full moon weekend, right? Yep. Ryder has some work she has to get done this weekend too, so I'll be reaching out to a few people and talking to you, OOC and IC. So have a great night, guys, and thanks for coming. And thanks to my R&D department, and thanks Kai for being here. And yeah, have a great night, all.
Thanks, guys. Be free.
Have a great night.